Hey everybody, welcome back to more Space Marine. I'm still Niggeroth. Today I have with me Azren.
Hi.
Hi. And we are finally, yet again, meeting up with our battle brothers for probably the second or third time in the game. I'm not actually sure
Where is it?
the justification for constantly needing to split up with them, but I guess, you know, we're a lone wolf.
Come on, gang.
And,
Are you alright?
yeah, and, may have been a bit hard to hear, but the Inquisitor decided to be a bit more creepy than previously shown by... he's really interested in this power source and making sure it gets to where it needs to be okay. I assume that's just because it's a very precious material, not for evil.
Well, and like he said, I mean, Orks get a hold of it, might blow up the planet. That's not exactly the best thing in the world.
Yeah, there could be an endless number of possibilities if these Orks happen to get a hold of it. They might eat it, or they might smash it with a rock. Honestly, the Orc war boss could put it on his boss pole and just wear it as a nice shiny bit.
Yeah. Let's see what happens if we jam this down one of our guns.
It would probably be a very wonderful projectile. Actually, it's kind of funny that you make mention of that, because it's kind of a it's a mild spoiler for something that happens later on with how great of an idea is. Let's put this down the barrel of a gun, because yeah, that's just an awful idea. But actually, down this this little valley right here, we actually have a probably the most well-hidden audio log in the game, so let's go ahead and listen to that.
Benjamin, I feel like I'm leaving breadcrumbs for you to follow. We can't wait for you here. The shift group left without us. The whole idea was safety in numbers, but they didn't bother to wait. This hab block's completely looted. We're heading for Evacuation Center Epsilon. Look for us there. Be careful.
I know that you can find it back in that alcove there. I mean, it's where we always hide stuff.
Yeah, well, we've been leaving all these breadcrumbs down these dead-end valleys out in the desert. Why haven't you been following them? Because it's probably a horrible idea. But yeah, I mean, we're still following the escapades of these random workers and their efforts to rejoin their friends, I suppose. It's just... really, they're just in more and more obtuse places. Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they want to keep those little bits of story going, but
yeah, and at least he's leaving a message for someone rather than just I'm making a log. Ooh.
It's my dying moment. I want to record my complaints about the person not being there where I expected them to be. So many games do that, where they just miraculously catch their dying moments, or, it usually is their dying moments, like seconds before they're about to be, eaten by an enemy or something.
It's always kind of hit and miss whether they have enough justification for doing that.
Yeah, I assume, though, that for the most part this has just been, to give some personality and... backstory to an otherwise empty planet, because we really haven't seen too many other NPCs on this planet outside of guardsmen. We'll never see the Skitari, we'll never see any random workers, we'll never see any of them.
Yeah, no servitors, nothing.
Yeah, well, even though I don't think a servitor would ever leave behind an audio log. I am so lost, I'm not sure what to do, so I left an audio log. But yeah, this particular fight here can actually be fairly difficult, because it's pretty much about 80 to 90% rocket boys, and they will actually pretty much completely ignore your buddies and instead just fire at you. But yeah, I guess that's because you have a big purple shiny thing on your belt, so you make the easiest target.
It's the player! Get him!
Yeah, I mean, the other guys are just completely ignored for the most part. Except there will be a few random times when you'll see the Inquisitor completely swarmed, And even in melee range, he'll just continue to shoot at them with his one bolt pistol, and it's impotent, to say the least.
My research.
But actually hidden, well, I don't want to say hidden here, but we do have another audio log.
Accessible.
Lead the way.
After I listen to the Inquisitor with his important spiel.
Radio says the Orks are 2 streets away.
Help me with this, Titus. Hurry.
What are you injecting him with? Stop! This is a fatal dose.
Yes, it is. I have enough revelation.
Murdering them.
I'm showing them mercy. In 10 minutes, the Orks will break through those doors and slaughter them all in their beds. Better to die in peace before that. It's the last thing I can do for them.
Yeah, it's, I mean, our basic deaths... Actually, what the hell are they doing? It's really... You don't really notice this while you're playing, but just... I don't really know why they're firing rockets at that grating there.
They just got really bored, I guess.
Yeah, there's completely nothing else to do in this wall except stand around and... I mean, maybe they're trying to find an alternate path to places?
Sure.
I don't actually know at this point what their motivation is, because we're actually, like, this point in the game is called, like, Kalkys Outskirts, and it's based, what's that? It's the outskirts of the middle of nowhere. There's pretty much nothing out here. You can actually sometimes see things in the far distance, like the spire heading off into the sky and the Inquisitor's research facility.
Well, I
this...
mean, I guess that the Orks are just kind of sitting around waiting for something to do, or I don't know.
They're waiting to ambush us because we're the only ones. We're the only one else here in this entire desert area.
Yeah.
They have set up these waves and waves of ambushes just for us because they have magical psychic powers to know we're coming.
Doesn't that just make you feel special?
It sounds very well planned out. I will at least say that they do have the cool effects of rocks plummeting down from the sky to at least explain. Yeah, some of these guys are actually freshly landing here, and you know they're rushing to the nearest target, which is us. But when you have just 5 or 6 rocket boys and a knob just kind of chilling out in the middle of nowhere, plunking away at like a sewer grating, that doesn't even make like any sense whatsoever. Outside of they really want to get into a pipe, which after the sewer level I can actually assume to be correct.
Well, you got to use your Daka somewhere, right?
Yeah, they apparently have a never-ending stream of rockets somehow. Actually, I'm not even sure how Orks make rockets, but I assume it's a very well thought out and scientific process that doesn't need a Forge World.
Yes.
But yeah,
well thought out and scientific.
But yeah, we actually haven't seen one of these larger knobs in quite a while, and it's probably for the best because they are actually, yeah, they are deadly. And it actually takes me a second to realize I still have 2 grenades out, and I actually think one of them strapped to the, one of them was strapped to the knob. Actually, that one explosion I think killed the normal knob and kind of made this guy able to be executed. Also, just showing off that that particular power sword execution it's not really the modder did his best, which is good. But some of that particular execution just really doesn't connect very well.
Yeah, it's the power axe. Same thing with power axe, just with sword.
Yeah, I will say I don't think it has that. There's one execution with the power axe where you like throw it into his foot and then like rip open it. I don't think the power sword has that one. So, because that one I think would really, really look bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, weirdly enough, this little area right here actually, I don't even want to say they're branching paths, but there are kind of multiple choices you can take, but they're so short that they don't really need to be there. And it almost makes you think there should be an audio log hiding somewhere, you know, up here or something, but, you know, really, there's just
or
nothing.
Weapons cache or something.
Captain, my
Yeah, more grenades, you know, but
I may need your help
it's
to activate the
just
psychic
empty area. It's a huge open world.
mechanism is at my research
There's just so many variations you can have.
travels along conduits from the lab.
But yeah, we're actually almost to where, well, we're relatively close to where we want to be. We're almost through these highly differential deserts and valley areas. And yeah, I mean, we're actually coming up to a pretty large battle, but yeah, I just want to kind of bring attention to the current skin we're using of is this Dark Angels?
Yeah, I think so. It's the right symbol and color scheme, anyway.
Do the Dark Angels actually have they have an interesting Primarch, right?
I'm not as familiar with the Dark Angels themselves. I just recognize them because I almost ended up playing them.
Yeah, because I know the one I know of specifically is like the Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Because they have Dracula as their Primarch.
Not so much. It's more, they didn't really become vampiric until after he died. He was like an angel before that.
Yeah, but then afterwards, his name was like Sanguinus.
Sanguinius, yeah.
Yeah, and after he, like, they keep him in a stasis field, and they drain, like, he seems to have a never-ending supply of blood that their initiates have to drink to become like a Blood Angel's, space
they
marine.
drink it before every fight, and sometimes end up with really nasty psychic backlash on it.
Yeah, but then apparently they keep the crazy ones, in stasis for later on, because apparently, even though their ball's crazy, they're still really good at fighting.
They are awesomely good at fighting.
Yeah, I always remember, at least within like the Fire Warrior thread, people were bringing up like the there's some portion of the Inquisition that's called like the Assassinarium, and they're nothing but assassins. And one of them was just basically these like crazed space marines that they are only ever woken whenever a planet is just completely doomed. And they just drop them in a drop pod, they wake up, and everything that gets in their way is killed. Like friend, foe, women, children, everything. They murder them.
The Blood Angels Death Company chaplains can keep them under control, and so they don't attack friends, but other than that, they're pretty batshit.
Yeah, well now that makes me wish I knew more about the Dark Angels, because I know they're not the Batman, because that's the Night Lords. Yeah, Night Lords their Primarch was Batman, because the entire planet was Gotham City, and he was basically holding a police state.
Oh boy, sure made that ground explode into blood there.
Yeah, it's the final wave, whenever the Inquisitor's like, oh, the door's open, you want to get to the door, because the waves beforehand were kind of bad, but this is basically the game telling you, get to the door, get the fuck away from these guys, because there's like 6 knobs out there.
When I played through the first time, got there, oh, I don't want the Thunderhammer if I'm moving on, I need to switch back, and got overrun and died. Real messy.
Yeah, the game kind of throws you for a curveball here, because, well, we had the Thunderhammer a couple videos ago, but then it got taken away because turret section. But then they finally give you the Thunderhammer again, but then realistically you don't want to keep it, because there's a section coming up where you're going to need the additional weaponry, and you're not going to need the Thunderhammer. The Thunderhammer becomes more of a detriment more than anything. Also, it's been kind of weird, because the other two, well, pretty much all the Space Marines have been constantly questioning, like, will this Psychic Scourge work, are you sure? And as some people on the thread have been pointing out, like, It's really doubtful that the Psychic Scourge will work, but it's kind of a point right now where they don't really have any other choice.
Yeah, it's kind of... We lose and the Orks take over the Titan. We use the Psychic Scourge and it blows up the planet, including the Titan. Or we use the Psychic Scourge and it miraculously works somehow. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, realistically, whenever the player's playing this, he's probably just thinking, well, I've been doing pretty well so far. I can probably just solo the entire planet. Because, you know, you've already killed, like, 50,000 orcs by this point.
Yeah.
Like, why do we even need a Titan at this point? I've been pretty much slaughtering everything. But then, it's because I don't really get across that, you know, just because you kill an orc, it might actually just be regenerating somewhere else on the planet. Its spores just are circulating elsewhere.
I mean, from what I've been told, an orc infestation is like one of the hardest things to get rid of. Even an Exterminatus might not get rid of all of them because they're hanging out underground or something, kind of like cockroaches.
Well, I think that's normally more for, like, Tyranids. Tyranids will actually normally, like, burrow underground. But I don't know. I think an Exterminatus is basically just like a huge global ring of fire that just evaporates everything.
Yeah, dust off and nuke the planet from orbit.
Yeah, but we don't want to ruin the planet because apparently it's not already gone to shit. So.
Yeah. Well, and Exterminatus would definitely screw up the Titan pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, well, that's why I always found, like, whenever they you know, finally released information on the co-op multiplayer, and they called it Exterminatus.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, no, because that's the entire point of why we did single player, was to not have Exterminatus. Like, no, this is a much more subtle Exterminatus. And oh yeah, audio log, whenever I stop shooting.
We're all going to die out here!
You are an Imperial Guardsman. Start acting like one.
But, Lieutenant!
We're not dead yet. So do your bloody job and defend the line before they...
Oh, that was abrupt.
I don't know.
You're an Imperial Guardsman, start acting like one. I am! I'm squishy and terrified!
Yeah, the mirror ones are all kind of... all the audio logs are useless, except for Drogon's, and we won't really be getting the most of those until later on in the game. But yeah, I was kind of picturing more that Exterminatus mode was just you riding on a really huge explosive down from, like, orbit, and you had to guide it.
Oh, that sounds hilarious. Just
yeah, it's kind of like that part from, like, Doctor
Strangelove.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking. The very end bit there, that was marvelous.
Yeah, but, you know, the co-op mode is alright. Hopefully I'll be able to show that off with some random people later, which I'm sure will go very well. For right now, though, we've managed to find this one single pipe that is actually completely orc-free. That, I guess they decided this wasn't going to be a viable way to get inside the research facility, and that's why it's completely empty. But, yeah, we're actually now inside of the Inquisitor's research facility, and that's actually where we're going to be continuing in the next video. But I did want to thank Azren for joining me this time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time as we continue on and hopefully fire off the Psychic Scourge and more Space Marine.
Hoorah!